Hello everyone. Welcome back to my channel. I am Suchandra Day and in today's video we are going to understand a very powerful and thought-provoking poem, Fire and Ice. This poem is written by the famous American poet Robert Frost. In this video, I will explain the poem slide by slide, including information about the poet, meaning of the poem, themes, moral values learnt, poetic devices used, and the message behind the poem. Fire and Ice by Robert Frost. This presentation is about the poem Fire and Ice. It is a short but deeply meaningful poem that talks about how the world might end. But interestingly, the poet is not really predicting the end of the world. Instead, he is talking about human emotions and how they can destroy people and society. Even though the poem has only 9 lines, it contains a very powerful message about human nature. Let's first learn about the poet. The poem is written by Robert Frost, one of the most famous poets in American literature. He was born in 1874 and died in 1963. He is known for writing poems about nature, human emotions, and psychological ideas. His poems look simple, but they contain deep meanings about life. Robert Frost received the Pulitzer Prize 4 times, which is a huge achievement for any writer. Some of his famous poems include The Road Not Taken, Stopping by Woods on a Snowy Evening, Dust of Snow, of course, Fire and Ice, and many more. His poetry often uses simple language but powerful ideas. Now, let's understand the basic idea of the poem. The poem discusses a very interesting question. How will the world end? Some people believe the world will end in fire, while others believe it will end in ice. But these two words have symbolic meanings. Fire represents desire, greed, and uncontrolled passion. Ice represents hatred, cruelty, and emotional coldness. Through these symbols, the poet suggests that human emotions themselves can destroy the world. So, this poem is actually a reflection on human behavior and emotions. Now, let's read the poem. Some say the world will end in fire, some say in ice. From what I have tasted of desire, I hold with those who favor fire. But if it had to perish twice, I think I know enough of hate to say that for destruction, ice is also great and would suffice. Now let's understand its meaning. In the first 2 lines, the poet says that people have different opinions about the end of the world. Some believe the world will end in fire, while others think it will end in ice. In the next lines, the poet says that from his experience of human desire, he agrees that fire could destroy the world. Why? Because desire, greed, and uncontrolled ambition can lead to destruction. But then he adds something interesting. If the world had to be destroyed a second time, he believes ice would also be powerful enough. Here, ice represents hatred. Hatred can make people cold, cruel, and destructive, and therefore it can destroy the world just like fire. So the poet concludes that both desire and hatred are dangerous emotions. Now let's talk about the main theme of the poem. The poem mainly focuses on the destructive power of human emotions. Fire symbolizes desire, greed, and passion. Ice symbolizes hatred, indifference, and coldness. Both of these emotions can cause conflicts, violence, and destruction in the world. The poet is reminding us that the real danger is not fire or ice, but the negative emotions inside human beings. So the poem encourages us to control our emotions and think about our actions. Now let's see the moral values we learn from this poem. The first lesson is that uncontrolled desire can be dangerous. When people become too greedy or selfish, they may harm others. The second lesson is that hatred is equally destructive. Hatred can lead to violence, conflicts, and suffering. The poem teaches us that balance and self control are very important in life. We must learn to manage our emotions wisely. Now let's understand some poetic devices used in the poem. First is alliteration. Alliteration means repetition of the same sound at the beginning of the words. For example, some say favor fire. Next is imagery. Imagery helps readers imagine a picture in their mind. When the poet says the world will end in fire, we imagine destruction and chaos. Next is symbolism. Fire symbolizes desire, while ice symbolizes hatred. Another device is enjambment. This happens when a sentence continues to the next line without a pause. Then there is contrast. The poem, the poet contrasts fire and ice, which represent opposite forces, heat and cold, passion and hatred. Next is anaphora, the repetition of a word or expression at the start of two or more consecutive lines. Example, some say is repeated at the start of lines 1 and 2. Then we have personification. Personification is to give human qualities to inanimate objects. In this poem, fire and ice are capable of destruction. Thus, the poet personifies fire and ice by giving them mind and power to destroy anything. Assonance. It is repetition of vowel sounds in same line. The repetition is at different places in different words. For example, the long sound of O in I hold with those who favor fire. Now here you will see that the sound O is repeated and it is very prominent. Therefore, this line is assonance. These poetic devices make the poem more powerful and expressive. Then we have the rhyme scheme. The rhyme scheme of the poem is AB, AAB, CB, CB. In this slide, we will see the visual interpretation of the poem. Fire represents passion, desire, chaos, and destruction. Ice represents coldness, hatred, emotional numbness. The poet uses these two contrasting symbols to show how human emotions can destroy the world in different ways. Let's conclude. Even though Fire and Ice is a very short poem, it delivers a deep psychological message. The poem reminds us that desire can destroy us like fire. Hatred can freeze humanity like ice. Both emotions are dangerous if they are not controlled. So the real message of the poem is that human emotions must be balanced with wisdom and self-control. Only then we can create a peaceful and harmonious world. That's all for today's explanation of Fire and Ice by Robert Frost. I hope this slide by slide explanation helped you understand the poem clearly. If you found this video helpful, like the video, share it with your friends and subscribe to the channel for more English literature explanations. Thank you for watching. This is Suchandra Day and I will see you in the next video.